Good evening, and I'd like to welcome you and call to order our Lucan Biddulph Council meeting for Tuesday, April the 21st. I would like to acknowledge that I am an ally of Indigenous peoples. The Township of Lucan Biddulph is located on the treaty and traditional territory and ancestral lands of many Indigenous peoples and is covered by several Upper Canada treaties. We honor and respect the history, languages, and culture of the diverse Indigenous peoples who call Lucan Biddulph home. We endeavor to unlearn colonial mindsets and practices and to grow in knowledge. As we build meaningful relationships, we recognize contributions of Indigenous peoples and respect their leadership and partnership in shaping and strengthening our community. We acknowledge historic and ongoing injustices that Indigenous peoples endure in Canada, and we affirm our commitment to honoring Indigenous voices, nations, and cultures, and to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Okay. So we're meeting tonight and reminded that tomorrow is Earth Day. This day allows for time to reflect on the role each of us plays in caring for our environment and the community that we're proud to call home. In Lucan Biddulph, that connection to the land isn't something that's distant. It's part of our everyday lives. It's in our farms and our natural spaces, and it's the way that we look out for one another. Earth Day is a good reminder that the decisions that we make at this table matter. Growth, infrastructure, and services are all important, but so is ensuring we're protecting what makes this community special. It's about finding that balance, being practical, being forward-thinking, and making choices that will serve not just today's residents, but future generations as well. I would like to remind everyone that this coming Saturday is Pitch-In Day, and as is tradition, we will be meeting at the Scout Hall to go with the guiding groups and cleaning up around Lucan Biddulph. This year, we've encouraged residents and businesses to participate by taking 15 minutes and cleaning up around your neighborhoods and businesses. If you are participating, a reminder to reach out to Lisa DeBoer to get bags and gloves and to make arrangements for the pickup of the collected garbage. As we move through tonight's agenda, I would encourage us to keep the spirit of Earth Day in mind, working together, staying grounded in our values, and continuing to build a community that is strong and sustainable. So we have to move into a drainage consideration meeting, and with that, I would ask for a mover and a seconder to meet for drainage consideration for the Mitchell O'Shea drain, and that is at 6:03. A mover and a seconder, Councillor Westman and Councillor Regan. All in favor? And that's carried. So joining us tonight is Mike DeVos from Spreets, and I'll turn it over to Mike at this time to walk us through the plan for the Mitchell and O'Shea drain. It's great to see you, Mike. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. The report before you for the Mitchell and O'Shea drain is prepared under Section 78 of the Drainage Act for repair and improvement to an existing municipal drain. The Mitchell drain was constructed mostly as a tile drain, the portions that we're working on in the late 1960s. There were other portions on the O'Shea that was originally a separate report that would have been built in the 1970s, but it was combined together for some works at a later date. Excuse me. There was some work done in the early 2000s in the bottom end. But in this case, the landowners requested us to improve the portions that were in the 1960s mostly, and also replace the O'Shea drain that was remaining that was not improved in the early 2000s. We did investigate and design and come up with proposals of different design standards, different levels of design. We've also looked at different alternatives of direction. The bottom end of the O'Shea drain would be more economical and efficient to take to the Grace drain instead of, or the Damon drain, sorry, instead of the existing outlet down into the work that was done in the early 2000s. So we're able to save the disturbance of that portion of the field. Excuse me. After meeting with the owners on an informal basis to review the proposals, there were some further requests, including looking at replacing drain 8, drain 9, and drain 5. So some of the branch drains that were in the Frank Dietrich property and the U Dietrich property. So those were added after the initial meetings, as well as extending and repairing and improving drain 9 through the bush on the Three Counties Farm property, the Gamble property. It currently goes through the bush to serve a tile that comes from the south. So that was added as well. And then the work that was originally proposed upstream of Highway 23, excuse me, was removed. So we are not improving that. It's a much smaller tile and less important to the landowners in terms of the amount of surface water that's flowing through the property. So the report before you is both replacing and twinning some portions with mostly all new tile. There'll be some catch basins and structures to join all the pipes together and to try and put additional surface water underground as much as possible, knowing that this is still a low flow system, and during larger rain events, surface water will continue to flow over the ground. I think I'll stop and open up to questions.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Mike. At this time, I would ask if there's any landowners that are here tonight that have any questions for Mike on his report. Sure, come on up. I'll get you to come up and you can sit beside Mike.
Simple question.
So just before I get you to start it, if you could state your name and your address, that would be great. And then you're free to ask whatever questions you have.
Blaine Gamble, R1 Grant. I'd like to know on branch 9, how deep is it from the old one?
You're speaking of the tile or?
Yeah, the tile.
The tile.
What we were replacing. Because you were saying that it's gonna be a little more deeper. I hope it was deeper.
We don't show it on the profile, but I think that we would probably be about 10 inches deeper
9 inches?
by the time we get to the top. Maybe not as much at the bottom, but we went a little bit flatter than the old drain, so we were a little deeper by the time we got up to the bush.
So is that, when it goes through the bush,
Yeah,
now it's gonna be 10 inches deeper too?
it is deeper, yes.
Because we hardly have any fall there right now.
Yes, we'll be taking out probably 10 inches at the top, and then there's a stretch near the bottom end that we might be taking as much as 14 inches out.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So
Now,
it is a flat ditch,
Yeah.
so it's not flowing downhill real fast, and it does need maintenance.
Yes, it does.
Ditches of a flat drain, like a grade like that, might need maintenance every 10, 15 years
Yes.
would be our normal suggestion. It depends on how quickly it accumulates the sediment.
Yeah.
But when it's flat like that, the sediment doesn't get transported. It likes to get deposited in it. But
So,
this is deeper than the
Yeah,
original
no.
design. So when
Yes.
we had discussions, we looked at the ditch because there was a report from 1977 that created that ditch. And the tiles on the upstream end were
Yeah.
deeper than what the original plan showed for their depth to be.
Yeah.
So we needed to make that ditch deeper to provide a better outlet for
so
those pipes.
when you clean it out, it's the bush and the shrubs all gonna be cleaned out like 30 feet both ways of that ditch? Both sides?
Just the side that we're working on.
Oh, is it?
It'll come out of the channel itself and then the working side.
Because on the, which side you're gonna work on, one side has got a lot of just dead trees and brush and stuff on the other side. So when you do clean it out, all that's gonna fall back in another couple more years. I like
Yeah.
to clean it out both ways, so there's no garbage.
If you wish to do some clearing on the opposite side, you could
Yeah.
do that yourself. But as far as the drain is concerned and the necessity of us doing the work that we need to do to get in and do the clean out and level the material will be leveled adjacent to the drain
I see.
where the machine is sitting. So I think we're working on the northeast side is the
Yeah.
side that we're showing that to be.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's all I want to know. That's it. Thank
Okay,
you.
great, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, then I would ask council if there are any questions from any members of council. Yep, Councillor Regan?
I actually do have a question just to that gentleman's point. If you're making repairs to those drains and then there's debris, fallen trees, debris, and not clearing it on both sides, is that not, is there, I mean, would that not just be preventative, like down the road?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not an engineer, so I'm not sure.
We're clearing anything that would be above the channel or hanging down into the channel.
Right,
But if the tree is off to the side, we wouldn't be cutting that. We don't usually, that's not usually what's done.
okay,
If landowners want to do that as an extra precaution, they can,
Okay.
but typically we would only be working on the one side for equipment purposes to get the equipment in and the
Okay.
level. There'll be excavated material that has to be leveled over a wide, shallow area on one side. And then the equipment has to reach into the channel.
right,
And then we also don't want any growth in the channel so that if it is flowing enough water, it's not getting dammed up or debris collecting on the stuff that would be hanging down and into or over the channel. So we would cut the stuff hanging, but not anything beyond the top of bank.
right.
It's
Okay.
possible in the future, things could blow over and things
Okay.
like that, but typically that's just not, we don't go to that
It's not
extent.
standard. All right, thank you, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Any other questions? Okay, just wondering what the next steps are then from after this
Yes.
meeting.
This is the consideration, so we're dealing with the design and the construction. So the, roughly a month from now, there'll be a second meeting called the quarter revision. And it deals with the assessments, so the distribution, what each proportion of that each property would pay. It's an opportunity for the people to voice a concern in that regard. If we don't anticipate large appeals or big appeals, we might tender the project out between the two meetings so that you can bring back some recommendations at the same time as the next meeting. After both meetings are done and the appeal period elapses, you pass the bylaw and then you can award the contract and construct the drain. Excuse me.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, with that, we do have a motion in front of us that the drainage report for the Mitchell and O'Shea Drain 2026 as prepared by Sprete and Associates dated February 12th, 2026 be received and adopted, and that the first sitting of the Court of Revision on behalf of the Mitchell and O'Shea Drain 2026 be scheduled for June the 2nd, 2026 at 6 p.m. A mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Hodgins and Deputy Mayor Manders. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, thanks very much, Mike.
Thank you.
With that, we're going to close our drainage consideration meeting at 6:13 and a mover and a seconder for that, please. Councillor Westman and Councillor Hodgins, all in favor? It's carried. And then we need to convene our committee of adjustment. So a mover and a seconder to do that at 6:13. Please, Councillor Westman, Councillor Regan, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so in front of us tonight is a consent application for a property on Francis Street. And at this time, I am going to turn it over to Alyssa to take us through this application.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose and effect of this consent application is to sever one lot from the existing residential parcel to allow for the development of a new single detached dwelling. The subject property is 1,080 square meters in size, located on the north side of Francis Street, east of the intersection at Main Street. The land is municipally known as 132 Francis Street in the township of Lucan Biddulph, county of Middlesex. The property currently contains a single detached dwelling on full municipal services, a detached garage, and a shed. The proposed retained parcel would have a frontage of 15 meters and an area of 529.51 square meters. The remnant parcel would have a frontage of 15.6 meters and an area of 550.53 square meters. Surrounding land uses include residential to the north, east, and west, and mixed-use residential to the south. The land is designated residential according to the Lucan Biddulph official plan and is zoned residential first density exception 4 according to the township zoning bylaw. No comments were provided by the public prior to the development of this report. Provided agency comments include Middlesex County Emergency Services providing 911 addressing requirements, the Lucan Biddulph Building Department noting the requirement to remove the wood deck on the existing house and the detached garage, Lucan Biddulph Public Works also noting the requirement for the removal of the deck and servicing the new lot, and the Asaba Bayfield Conservation Authority having no natural hazard concerns. As identified in the planning report, staff are of the opinion that the proposal is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms with both the county and township official plans and can meet all zoning bylaw requirements. Given the above, I am recommending approval of the consent application B1 2026, subject to the conditions provided in the report. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, Alyssa. At this time, I see that the applicant has joined us virtually. Mr. Dart, did you have anything that you wanted to add to the report?
No, nothing at all. We just look forward to this severance opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. At this time, I would ask if any members of the public have a question. Okay, if you want to come up to the speaker's desk, and then just state your name and your address.
Just to make clear, these are just questions for clarification that I have more than anything. My name is Peter Dawson. My wife and I live at 130 Francis, right next to the property that is in question about severance. So I have just a couple of questions and a statement just for clarification. I noticed that on the agenda that you have here on item 1 that states that the certificate of consent under section 5342 of the Planning Act will be given within 2 years. Does that mean that the village grants this to happen within 2 years, or that construction can start within 2 years?
Through the chair. So that condition number 1, it speaks to the time that the applicants have to complete all of the rest of the conditions in this list. So they have 2 years to complete those. Once all of them are done, construction can occur once they obtain building permit approvals.
Okay, so that I could assume then from that construction may not start for 2 years, up to 2 years. And again, the only reason I'm asking this is because we live right next door to the property. We'd like to know when this is going to happen. So
Through the chair, it would depend on when they get the whole list of conditions complete. That could be less than 2 years. It could be more. Just depends on the timeline of the applicants and getting all those conditions completed.
okay, fair enough. Fair enough. The other question I have is that I'm just wondering, so we've been in the property for 40 years and we had a fence that we installed probably 35 years ago, which has since started to collapse. Part of the fence that is adjacent to the property that's going to be severed, part of the reason was age that it's collapsing, but another part of it is because there are cinder blocks that were used plus other concrete materials to infill when we received the property from CN. So I'm concerned about the fence having to be removed to create any kind of excavation to create a basement for the house or whatever may be happening. And I'm just concerned that our property may be then unfenced for the date or the time limit of the construction. So I'm wondering if a temporary fencing like a snow fence might be put up in lieu of that until we can then go about replacing it, because we're planning on replacing the fence. I talked with the Darts last year about the fact about this, and we agreed that we'd wait until, because they were quite open about what they were doing with the property. and brought it to my attention that maybe it would be best to use heavy equipment to remove some of this concrete material, which I totally agree with. Since I'm getting on in age, I don't want to have to be moving it myself. But I'm just wondering if, because we have pets that are in the backyard that's totally fenced in and we want to keep them fenced in, that kind of thing, whether or not there would be any plans in place to have a temporary fence there.
That would be a discussion, maybe that or an answer that the applicants could speak to.
Sure. Peter, it's Scott. Just so you know, yeah, we'd be happy to work with you to make sure that, you know, your animals are not put at risk in any way. And if it meant a temporary fence of some sort, we'd be happy to work on that with you.
That's awesome. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. The other question I have is with respect to addressing the buildings. We have no intention of severing our property, but when we're gone, I can see somebody buying the property and saying, oh, let's make this into 2 properties. So, but I'm assuming that we would keep our street address, because otherwise I'm just thinking ahead of things about having to notify anyone of the change of address and that kind of thing. So I'm assuming that the village is looking at option 2, I think it is, where you refer to 132 being 2 132 and 1 132.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Peter, we've run into these situations before where you go, never saw that one coming, but now we have to do something. So there's a few options that we can talk to, and typically what happens is we do talk to the neighbors and try and figure out one that's least intrusive, I guess, of everybody.
Yep.
What you don't want is one person to do one thing that means everybody else on the street has to change, has to
Right.
go to the post office and get all their addressing changed. So
Right.
we typically work with, you know, the new owner, whoever that is, with the existing owners, so we can deal with that at the time that it happens.
Okay, that sounds perfect.
And you work with emergency services
Correct.
on that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Okay, and the only thing I don't want to take too much of your time. The Darts have been wonderful neighbors, and their sons have been great neighbors as well. So we appreciate having nice neighbors like that on the street. Just one thing and I don't know whether this makes any difference, and it may sound very petty and picky, but Francis Street is spelled incorrectly on a number of paragraphs in this. It's given with the female Francis rather than the male Francis. So I just don't know whether that makes any difference or not, but I thought if you wanted to be sticklers about it, you might want to notice that. Being a former teacher, I notice these things.
Yes, you would pick that up. No, appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot, Peter. No, that's good.
Anyway, thank you very much for allowing me to come in and speak, and thank you to the Darts for everything they're doing. We appreciate it. And we look forward to hearing what's going to happen in the future.
Okay,
All
great.
right.
Thanks very much thanks for participating. Does council have any questions? Okay. All right,
Oh, Kathy, I had my hand up, sorry.
yeah, sorry, Deputy Mayor.
I am in favor of the application. Just a question. I'm just not sure if that stub there at the sewer, would there be a road cut and disruption obviously on the road, and then sidewalk is on that side. So I'm just curious, you know, as far as if they create the lot and may do nothing with it, that's you know, their business, what they do with it. Just wondering how that works for reconstruction deposit and just how that looks.
Okay, that would be a Jeff question, I think.
Yeah, so through the mayor, there'll have to be a working in the road allowance permit taken out for any of the work done in the road allowance. And part of that is security, and security then covers, depending on the extent of the work. So in this case, going into the road, the security will cover repaving the road, redoing the curb, redoing the sidewalk. Anything that is taken out is replaced as part of that procedure. So it all gets covered under the road, working in a road allowance permit.
Okay, no, thank you.
Okay, with that, Seeing no other questions, you have a recommended motion in front of you. I'm not going to read the whole thing because there are a number of um, uh, conditions that are attached to it. If anybody watching wants to see all of the conditions, please refer to the agenda on the website. But as Alyssa said in her report, she is recommending that the application be granted. So a mover and a seconder for that, please. Councillor Hodgins and Councillor Regan. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, thank you very much. And I think the Darts are familiar with what the next steps are. Otherwise, you can get in contact with the planning department. But thank you very much. Okay. With that, I would ask for a mover and a seconder to adjourn our Committee of Adjustment meeting at 6:25 to reconvene our regular meeting, please. Councillor Regan and Deputy Mayor Manders. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we don't have any delegations tonight, so in front of us are the council meeting minutes from April the 7th. Unless there doesn't need to be anything amended on them, I would ask for a mover and a seconder to approve those meetings, those minutes as circulated. Councillor Hodgins and Councillor Regan. All in favor? Carried. On to the consent agenda. There's just a few items, and I believe Councillor Regan, you wanted to speak to 9.5.
Yes, if I may. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just wondering, I think this was brought up, I can't remember if it was last meeting or the meeting before, just about getting more people involved in our cleanup day and getting that more out to the public. So I know I've been involved with it for a number of years. I thought perhaps, and when I saw this as sort of the Ministry of Environment sort of litter day, and I was just wondering, maybe just a question to staff, and I know we can't do it this time, but what would be would it be an opportunity to perhaps move our day closer to this day and sort of marry that together, to maybe encouraging more and more people to get out? I know that the scouts are out there doing their part. I know that counselors have been out there. I know the number of residents have been out there. But I would like to see, and it was mentioned, and I can't remember who on council mentioned it last time, but I thought it was a really good idea to try to get as many people in the community out. And I thought perhaps using this event might be a way to doing it. Again, just a suggestion for staff to see if that's something that's possible, or if it works better doing it now, because I know Earth Day is tomorrow. So I didn't know if that was the reason we were doing it then. But again, a little bit later in the year, weather might be a little nicer, because I know traditionally cleanup day's been cool and wet, and yes. So but the spirit is there, and I just want to build on that. So that was just a comment, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
So I do believe that Pitchin' Day always coincides with Earth Day, but certainly that's not, I mean, I would encourage certainly during the next term of council to for the new council to bring that up in discussion, because it makes perfect sense to try to either do something in tandem or look at it. So
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thank you.
great. Were there any other items on the consent agenda that council wanted to speak to? Okay, if I can get a mover and a seconder then to receive those items for information then, please. Councillor Hodgins and Councillor Westman, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, on to correspondence. There was only one item received. If I can get a mover and a seconder, unless somebody wanted to speak to it. So a mover and a seconder to receive and file that correspondence items. Councillor Westman and Councillor Regan, all in favor? That's carried. On to committee reports. Blue Water,
Nothing to report.
CEDC.
Nothing to report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, Lake Huron, nothing. Fire boards, not anything. There is correspondence on ABCA. Councillor Hodgins.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Nothing major to report. I'll just note there's a set of minutes attached from March 26th, and then we did meet last week. Went over an update on our investments and just more updates on the consolidation. But nothing specific I need to bring back.
maybe at this time I will speak to, because at the last council meeting, I had shared that I was going to a meeting in London that the mayor was hosting, and Minister Flack was there, and it was more obviously Upper Thames related, but we did speak holistically about the about the proposed legislation. So I think what we took away from that was this is happening, and we need to get on board. But certainly the concern about governance and numbers and protection of our already existing conservation authorities when it comes to reserves, when it comes to the volunteer groups and that sort of thing. Certainly Minister Flack heard and promised that he would take back to his colleagues. But, you know, it was very clear this is happening. So
No,
we'll just leave it at that.
okay.
Parks and Recreation.
Nothing to report. We do have a meeting May 21st.
Okay, on to staff reports. There are no formal reports until Catherine Finance, unless anybody in the clerk's department has anything verbal. Okay, Catherine.
Okay, thank you. So this report tonight is for information and it's regards to the bylaw that's on the agenda later, bylaw number 17. And this is in regards to a bylaw to collect the maintenance costs on drains. So we're familiar with the construction and improvement on drains, which was actually talked about earlier today. But this is around the maintenance that doesn't have to go through that other formal process. But each year, we should be bringing an information and a bylaw to allow us to bill out the maintenance on drainage work that was on drains in the prior year. So you'll see this report only has one on it. Staff is working through and catching up on the maintenance on drains that's happened in the last few years. So in the future, this report will have a much longer list, the bylaw have a much longer list of drains on it. So that's the typical practice that's done in other municipalities. So this is something that we are working on. And the timing of it is in conjunction when the grant applications are due the end of April with ONAFA. So that's the gist of it. And if you have any questions, I'm here to hopefully I can answer them.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Questions on this report? Councillor Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you. Thanks for the report, Catherine, and the information. I'm just wondering how far back we are going on this, if it's something we're kind of catching up on. Do you know how many years we're going back?
So in what we're looking at now, we haven't done any billings in the last since like 2019, 2020, that time frame I'm seeing. So it's kind of something that we've been looking at, and now it's okay, now we have time, we need to work on it. We've got the construction and the improvement side of things going well with the reporting and the timeliness of that. And now maintenance has come up. So we have a number of drains, not big dollar, but there's a lot of little ones there. So kind of, anyway, there is a number going back a number of years, but I think we were under the impression that you could bill out you could hold on to that for 5 years. So we're just in that. So we're trying to catch up, and staff's working with the drainage superintendent as well and trying to get that done sooner than later. But and hopefully every year go forward, just have like the prior year and just do it 1 year at a time.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? So so this is a new process, I guess we're going through. So that's why the report is attached to it tonight. I'm assuming going forward, this will be just one of those annual bylaws that comes to council, and there may not be a corresponding report with it.
We could do either way. I've seen other municipalities also provide the same report with the details and then just have the bylaw. So it's however council feel more comfortable with what they'd like to see. If you need the background, maybe with new council, it'd be required or nice thing to have, but I think others don't necessarily have the bring the report, but it's just a bylaw with the list, but this gives some context to it if that's what council would like.
Certainly, I agree. I think next year for sure, you have a report, new council, would be great education. And then from there you can decide what it looks like, but good to know. Okay. Thank you for that. With that, I would ask for a mover and a seconder to receive that report for information. Please, Councillor Regan and Deputy Mayor Manders. All in favor? And that's carried. Did you have anything else, Catherine?
No.
Well, I guess I should have had my microphone on for that. So I'll repeat what I said. The next thing on our list is the annual planning report for 2025. And Alyssa, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. So the 2025 annual planning report provides information about the types of applications that we have received in the planning department. This includes your zoning bylaw amendments, minor variances, consents, and site plans. In total, for 2025, we received 33 planning applications, which is a slight decrease from 2024, but it's still a significant number. It also notes in a further chart below about subdivisions and condominiums. It speaks about one draft approved subdivision, that being Pemic Lands in early 2025. And then there were 2 red line amendments made to previous plans for phase 1 of Timber Ridge and the Pemic Lands as well. There have been various countywide initiatives that took place last year, including the County Official Plan Amendment number 4, which was adopted by County Council. This document responds to various changes from the province, as well as updating policies for housing, agriculture, the economy, and development in general. Another initiative experienced here in Lucan was the Have-To funding, where both the county and local staff were involved in tasks, such as updating the zoning bylaw, which we saw earlier this year, to provide more opportunities for housing. In 2025, we also saw many changes from the province, such as introducing regulations to reduce requirements for minor variances. This effectively permits up to a 10% reduction in setbacks from property lines, reducing the need for minor variance applications if they meet this criteria. The province has also let us know about the intention to consolidate its conservation authorities. Planning staff will continue to monitor and respond to these proposed changes from the province. Concerning Cloud Permit, the online e-permitting system, the system now accepts all local and county planning applications. Historically, Cloud Permit only accepted local applications, but now it takes subdivisions and LPAs. This change allows for more efficient management of planning data, keeping it all in the same realm. Looking into the remainder of 2026, we are expecting planning application levels a bit lower than recent past, but more in line with more historical numbers. And that's pretty much what the report goes over. Staff recommend that this report be received for information. And if you have any questions, Dan or I are here to answer them. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Alyssa. Appreciate that. Questions or comments on the report just received? Councillor Regan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If I may, so on page 4 of the report, it talks about the plans of subdivision and condominiums, and it speaks to low, medium, and high density. And what I'm just wondering is, we're very good in Lucan Biddulph making sure that we're building what we're supposed to be building. We're following along what the province is saying. Is there quotas that they have with respect to how percentages of low, medium, and high density? Are we meeting those quotas? Are we in line with what the provinces want? Thank you.
Through the chair, the province, through the provincial planning statement, they do require us to establish minimum density targets, but they don't set the targets themselves. So it's up to us to kind of define what those are. In terms of the county, they do provide a 15% target for all development to occur through intensification and redevelopment. And Lucan also applies that same concept in their official plan. As well as Lucan does have an overall minimum density target of 15 units per hectare in the settlement area for new forms of residential development. So there's nothing specifically talking about low, medium, and high, but they do have minimum density targets that we have more in the local and county official plans.
Yep, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. So thank you for that, Alyssa. As always, thank you to the planning department. You know, if it's not busy, you've been challenged in other ways, and your planning report certainly does, you know, refer to the province, because the province certainly has kept you busy over the last little while. So just thank you for what you've done, not only to support, you know, council's vision, but also to support our development community and our residents that come to you for whatever application they're presenting. Because I think that the one thing here over and over again is communication, and the support that they receive is appreciated, and they always get to hear from you, speak to you, and get the answers that they require. So thanks very much for all that. So appreciate it. With that, I would ask for a mover and a seconder to receive that report for information, please. Councillor Hodgins and Councillor Westman. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, Public Works, Jeff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do have a report. It's a report on a tender result. We did issue the tender for the Damon Municipal Drain. It did come back. The county procurement we did run through the county procurement with it. And we did get 5 submissions come back. With the review by Spree and Associates, the recommendation is to take the Robinson Farm Drainage low bid. They do have done activity in our municipality before, so we are comfortable with them. So between the county procurement, Spree Associates, and our association with past experience with the Robinson Farm Drainage, we are recommending council accept the tender, the low bid tender.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Any questions on that? Okay, with that, I would ask for a mover and a seconder for the recommended motion in front of you to accept the low tender from Robinson Farm Drainage. A mover and a seconder. Deputy Mayor Manders and Councillor Hodgins, all in favor? That's carried. Do you have anything verbal, Jeff?
I do have a couple items I wanted to bring to council. I know I'm going to be doing an activity report next, but I thought it would be important on a couple of these items. One, just to give a bit of an update on the Saintsbury line pavement was ongoing. So that is one item that I know we were all hoping to see finished, and the last word I got today was the county was hoping to be done that project today. To follow that up though, we are at the McEwen Gas Bar on the corner of Saintsbury Line. There will be a closure coming up on that, and that'll start tomorrow. The detour will be onto Alice Street, back over to Saintsbury. The reason for this closure is there's a chunk of water main that has to go in the road. So we were trying to wait till the pavement was done, and now that it's done, the closure will take place there. Also, just so council's aware, the trunk main expansion project in behind the condos has started. So this coming Monday, Campanelli will close for that for a manhole and that sanitary to go across at Campanelli. So we have two road closures in the next little while in town, but I just want to make sure council is aware of those 2 items taking place. The other item I just wanted to give an update to council, because it is going to come out a little bit more in social media and to the residents of Lucan, and that is Quadro Communication is going to be going through the village of, or the town of Lucan, and putting fiber in. So all the streets in Lucan are going to get fiber. And this is a project that's going to be done over a couple years. What it is done, it's going to replace and I, again, make sure I say this right, the coaxial cable that is already there. This is being eventually going to be discontinued. So for Quadro, this means that they'll still be able to supply their services through fiber optics. But I just wanted everybody to know that in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be a lot of activity on the town streets as the conduit and the fiber starts going in.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeff. Deputy Mayor Manders, I think you've got a question.
Yeah, just on the Saintsbury, do you know the estimated time for the closure there at the McEwen with the lights, Jeff?
Yeah,
days?
and through the mayor, it'll be approximately 5 working days. By the time they get the water main in, it has to then be tested and held pressure and then disinfected through the water commissioning plant. So it's not just about getting the infrastructure in the road. It's about making sure that we follow the water main commissioning plan. So it will take five working days there. That's the reason for the length of it.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Jeff? Okay, thanks, Jeff. Anything verbal, Lisa? No, nothing. So on to other business. And Jeff, I'll get you to speak to this one too, because it has to do with the Mitchell Grace drain.
Yeah, Madam Mayor. So part of the Mitchell Grace drain, the town, I guess I'll start at the beginning. The township was contacted by Willem Blumen. He is constructing another barn at the corner of Breen and 23. Near the location of where the barn's going in is a municipal drain, and that drain is the Mitchell Grace drain. He has asked that it shift a little bit. And we did meet with him on site and reviewed the location and where he wants to put it. It is a minor shift, but at the same time, it is a municipal drain. So to allow that to take place, we do have to update the report on the location and exactly how much drain is actually being moved. So this is to ask council to appoint Spreetz Associated to do that update. And I would also mention that Mr. Blumen has agreed that obviously the cost of moving the drain plus the cost of the report is his responsibility for his falling back to his request.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Any questions on that? Okay, so you have the recommended motion in front of you. If I can get a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Westman and Deputy Mayor Manders. All in favor? And that's carried. If there's anything else that needs to be added to other business, if you can let Tina know. Any notices of motion? Councillor comments? Councillor Westman.
Through you, Madam Mayor, just want to remind everyone that, as you did earlier, that Saturday is pitch-in day. The First Lucan Scouts and Guides will also be doing electronics recycling. So anybody has anything that they need to bring down and recycle, we'll gladly accept it. On a limited basis, we are able to go out into the community and collect things that are larger items that people may have a problem moving. We need to have notice of that quickly so that we can adjust it. People can come over to the park and ask and say, here's our address, can you come? So yeah, we'd appreciate that anybody that has that material can bring it over. We collect pretty much everything. We do ask that anything with refrigerant in it not be brought over because we have difficulty recycling that. But any electronics, computers, TVs, microwaves, things like that, we gladly accept. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just take this opportunity to congratulate the Cubs, the Scouts, the Guides for their successful spaghetti dinner last week. I think you were quite happy with the turnout and the food was great. So thank you very much. Any other councillor comments? No. So I had actually a question for Ron. Because we've talked about it in the past after contemplating that we were going to receive money for the expansion of the wastewater treatment plant, how that would affect our DCs. And I know there was always the more to come, and I'm just wondering if there'll be a staff report coming at any point or when there might be a DC review.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This discussion has been addressed many times internally with staff. So I've talked to Jeff about this, and yes, there will be a staff report coming forward, sort of outlining what our plans are and steps are. There's a few things that we want to get done. Number one, the estimate for the second ice pad needs to be done, and that should be done by the end of the summer. Jeff with Public Works has also talked about doing some sort of master sanitary sewer plan for that undeveloped area, sort of at the west end of Lucan here. That should be done and should be incorporated in there as well. So those things will be incorporated. But yes, we can bring a report back to council so that it's very public as to what the timeline is for that process.
Great, thank you very much. All right, if there aren't any other councillor comments, we have 3 bylaws in front of us. And we'll do the first and second reading for the Mitchell and O'Shea drain. Then there's the maintenance of the municipal drain bylaw that Catherine spoke to earlier, and our confirming bylaw. So the motion in front of us is that bylaw 16-2026 be read a first and second time, and that bylaw 17-2026 through 18-2026 inclusive be read a first, second, third, and final time and be adopted. A mover and a seconder for that, please. Councillor Hodgins and Deputy Mayor Manders, all in favor? And that's carried. And motion to adjourn at 6:51. Councillor Regan and Councillor Westman, all in favor?